Premium quality football shirts at an extremely affordable price. Sound good? If so, check out the sponsor of today's video, jerseyfifa.com. You can see that I've sent you some shirts and they really are top quality, so make sure to click the link in the description to go find a shirt for yourself or perhaps as a gift for someone else. And you can now use code jerseyfifa at checkout for 10% off your order. That's code jerseyfifa at checkout for 10% off your order. I really do recommend their product, so go take a look. Now let's get into the analysis. So I just wanted to start by saying that this is a video I've been holding on to for some time now, because I assumed that any deals with De Jong would have been completed by now. Now obviously that hasn't happened, but I'm kind of bored of waiting. So today's video is all about Frenkie De Jong and how he would tactically impact Manchester United if or when he makes the move later this summer. But first let's do an extremely brief look at some of his technical strengths. So to do this we are just going to look at his FB ref report because we've looked at it more in depth in the past. But what we can see here is that Frenkie De Jong is a brilliant ball progressor and is an all-round very technically sound player. So just by quickly looking at that we can get a rough idea of Frenkie De Jong's skills as a player, and we will sort of continue to hint back to them throughout the rest of the video, but the main focus is going to be the tactical impact. So the first thing I want to point out is that right now Manchester United aren't being linked with any other central midfielders, meaning that Frenkie's midfield partner will most likely be Fred or McTominay, unless Garner can make an impression. Whichever player it is playing alongside Frenkie De Jong in the midfield, I do think the shape will remain pretty much the same. United have often used a 4-2-3-1 over the past few seasons, and I'm confident Ten Hag will do the same. So the first thing that Ten Hag will demand is that his team are able to play the ball out from the back, and this is a situation in which Frenkie De Jong will be absolutely vital, because I think we all know now he is one of the most press resistant players in the world. Unfortunately, the same probably can't be said for his midfield partner, who I think may therefore be used as a decoy, so a player like McTominay could distract an opposition player away, allowing De Jong to then drop deeper. Now, despite McTominay dragging players away, De Jong will obviously still come under a decent amount of pressure. However, as I was saying earlier, De Jong is extremely press resistant, so he'll often be able to turn away from danger to keep the ball. Having done this, a lot of players will then look to quickly move the ball onto a teammate. However, De Jong likes to hold onto the ball and really lure the opposition in, meaning that his teammate can then receive the pass under less pressure. Again, this does mean that De Jong is really drawing the pressure and making things slightly more difficult for himself, but that's because he knows he has the quality to cope and absorb the pressure before then passing the ball further forward. De Jong is very effective at passing his way out from the back, however he also loves taking the ball on himself, and rather than just luring a player in, he also loves to really commit to beating a man to carry the ball through the thirds. As a result of these things that we've been looking at, Manchester United will find it a lot easier to get out of the press thanks to the tactics of Ten Hag and the pure quality of Frenkie De Jong, allowing United to take control of games. Having taken control of games, the question is then where De Jong operates in the middle third, because a lot of people are under the impression that he could be the deepest midfielder in a register role, but that is not his best role for me. Instead, I am more of the belief that Frenkie De Jong is at his best when he drifts over to the left slightly. This is where he was at his best for Ajax, and it's for this reason that I think he could play a similar area once again. If this was the case, then it would obviously allow the left back to push slightly further up the pitch, and with Frenkie De Jong dropping slightly deeper, it could create quite a nice trio that can really cycle possession down the left hand side of the pitch. Dropping to the left slightly would also simply allow De Jong to get the ball with a bit more time and space, from where he can then utilise his long range passing ability, something that actually often tends to go under the radar a little bit. As well as switching the play with longer passing, De Jong would also be able to progress the ball as well, thanks to his brilliant progressive passing, allowing the ball to be played in between the opposition's defensive lines to move the ball forward. Now, one of the reasons that Frenkie's so good at all of these things is because of the way that he shapes his body, because when he is shaping himself up to pass the ball, he plays with this real sense of deception, making it harder to defend. For example, what he'll often do is open his body up as if he is going to play the ball down the line, but he will then subtly turn, allowing him to play a slightly more acute pass inside for one of his forwards to run onto. This can't really be captured in a video like this, so I highly recommend that you go check out some compilations, because there really is no one else quite like him at the moment, and this art of deception makes him an incredible incisive passer. De Jong also uses that real sense of deception when he is carrying the ball as well, and I think it's his agility which makes him so impressive, and at times he genuinely just makes the opposition look bad with how effortlessly he beats them. I think everything that we've discussed so far really backs up what I said right at the start of the video, and that is the fact that Frenkie De Jong is an excellent ball progressor, and that's exactly how I expect him to be used at Manchester United if and when he signs. And actually, I can see him playing a similar sort of role to what both Bernardo Silva and Thiago did during the second part of last season, but Bernardo in particular is the real example, because he was given the freedom to progress and get further forward. If this is the case, then it will suit De Jong perfectly, because despite being so good at progressing the play from deep, he also has a lot to contribute further up the pitch as well, and at times I would expect to see him pushing further forward. The reason that I would expect to see this is simply because De Jong is much better in the final third than what most people think, but once in these advanced areas, he does have a real element of creativity which allows him to unlock the tightest of defences. This is certainly something that he has developed at Barcelona. In my opinion, he has been played too high since his move to Spain. However, whilst it may have affected him, it has allowed him to learn new skills such as this extra threat. If De Jong is given the freedom to push further forward, then he could be a real joy to watch, but personally I still think his best football will come when he is dropping slightly deeper to try and really dictate and progress from this deeper area. I'm actually really excited to see how Manchester United's left hand side could work, because both Maguire and Shaw are both pretty good ball progressors, so if they are in the first team, which they may not be, it could be a nice dynamic. This again goes back to the positional rotations that I've been talking about around Ten Hag in the past few weeks, and I think we could see more of the same down his left hand side, with players taking it in turns to step in. If this is the sort of approach that Manchester United look to take next season, then Frenkie De Jong really is the perfect signing for them to make this summer, because there really aren't many better midfielders when it comes to playing in this sort of role. I honestly understand why Ten Hag is so desperate to bring him into the club. For Ten Hag to really implement his ideas, he needs to work with the right players, and Frenkie De Jong is without doubt someone I would class as the right player. Despite all of the positives that I have been talking about, Frenkie De Jong may not be the ball-winning midfielder that Ten Hag wants. So while De Jong does look literally perfect in possession, I think there could be a few concerns from a defensive point of view. Now what I do just want to say is that De Jong isn't lazy, and whilst he isn't necessarily the best ball winner, he will always put in a defensive shift for his team, and he will contribute to his team from a defensive point of view. Regardless of that, I do still think there is a risk if you play De Jong alongside the wrong partner, and for me I think he is at his best when he plays alongside a true ball winner. They don't have to be a defensive midfielder, but they do need to win the ball. Whether that will happen or not remains unclear, although actually at the moment it doesn't look like anyone will be signed for this role. But let me know if you would like to see a video where I discuss who would be De Jong's ideal partner. But before that, I just want to summarise and wrap up this video by going over a few key points, and the first is that the signing of De Jong combined with Ten Hag's tactics will instantly drastically improve United's ability to play out from the back. As a result of having more success playing out from the back, Manchester United will then of course have more possession, and again Frenkie De Jong is one of the most perfect midfielders in the world to help a team dictate and dominate. Despite having this incredible ability to keep the ball for his side, I do still really feel as though Frenkie De Jong truly comes into his element when he is given the freedom to progress the ball, because for me that is where he really excels. As well as progressing the ball, Frenkie De Jong would also be a real upgrade in the final third, and whilst it isn't his strength, he is still a lot better in the final third than someone like Fred or McTominay, so he is still an upgrade in that department. For all of the reasons that I have discussed, I am obviously of the opinion that this would be an absolute dream signing for Manchester United, and genuinely I think it could be one of the best bits of business that any club would do all summer. The question now is, will it actually happen? Personally, I do still think that the move will go through, but I have no exclusive information or anything like that, it is just my opinion. So now I'd like to hear from you. Do you think this signing will happen, and how much do you think he would improve the team? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.